What's going on, everyone? Vampyr Gaming here, and today we're going to be talking about the Ultra Deck, the Three Brothers, releasing here in the U.S. in April 2024 and in Asia in December of this year. So in this video, we're going to talk about the decks, what it includes. We're going to talk about the cards in the decks, the leaders, and we'll also talk about some combos in the deck and like synergies for the cards, and just my overall thoughts on the decks and leaders. So let's go ahead and dive in here. We've got Ultra Deck. It's just like the Three Captains, but this time around it's the Three Brothers. So all cards are holographic, and it's a new deck themed the Three Brothers of Ace, Sabo, and Luffy. And so it's $34.99 MSRP. I believe this is higher than the Three Captains, but this does include a little bit more. And let's talk about that. So the contents, it's a constructed deck, 51 cards. You get 10 Don cards, but you also get a play sheet, which should be just a little paper play mat, and you get a card case ×1. I wonder if this is what they consider like the deck box, or if it's going to be like an individual like leader case. So possibly the deck box there, standard, but this time around we get a bonus pack. Bonus pack X1, 3 cards, 16 types in total. These are cards that you can pull for alternate art versions of the cards in the deck. And I imagine this is probably everything minus the leaders, or not minus leaders, minus the, because you can get, I believe you can get the leaders, minus the events. I think it just doesn't include the events. But yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at all of the cards. All right, so we have the leaders. You've got Monkey D. Luffy, and then his effect. He has an effect that alters the rules, and it's by the rules. Your face-up life cards will be sent to the bottom of your deck instead of to your hand. And it was just confirmed by Bandai that this means that triggers do not activate. So you can't stack triggers. However, Luffy does have a pretty crazy effect. Dawn X2 once... per turn, activate main. You may discard 1 card from your hand. If your life is at 0 cards, you may add up to 2 cards with a cost of 5 from your hand or trash to your life face up. And you ideally obviously want to do that from your trash. You don't want to go minus any more cards in your hand. But he essentially goes from 0 back up to 2, which could be very strong, being a yellow black leader. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. And then we've also got Sabo. It's Dawn X1. And then activate main once per turn. You may add up to one of your 3 cost or higher characters with 7,000 power or more to the top of your life face up, and give up to one of your characters plus 2,000 power until the start of your turn. So just straight up can gain a life and buff a character until next turn. So that's really huge. I think we could see some cool stuff around that. And then, of course, the one you all have been waiting for, the Fire Boy himself, the Will of Fire. Portgas D. Ace. Dawn X2. Activate main once per turn. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Add up to one of your 1 5-cost character to the top of your life face up. Then place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So first things first, you can activate this on your first turn. Use it to load up the grave. Cycle through your cards. And so that could be very nice. So you get to start off that, and you could potentially cycle through your whole deck. Since it'll take 10 turns just using that effect, less than 10 turns, it'll take 8 turns. So you could potentially stack through and know your entire deck just with this. The caveat is end of your turn, trash all face-up cards in your life. So he doesn't get to keep the life. So that is the downfall. Now let's go ahead and take a look here at the characters, the cards. First thing we're going to look at here is going to be the brothers. So if you've ever played Yu-Gi-Oh, these are kind of like the baby dragons. So I don't have their effect listed here, but I'll tell you what they do. So it's activate main. You may trash this character, reveal the top card of your life if the card is a 5-cost, and it's for each character. So for Luffy, it's a 5-cost Luffy. For Sabo, it's a 5-cost Sabo. And for Ace, it's a 5-cost Ace. You may play it. If you play it, up to one of your leaders gains plus 2,000 power into the end of your opponent's turn. So essentially, these are baby new gates that you can do, and you can also potentially on your, depending on the turn, but you could potentially do this on like your 4-Dawn turn. You can find a way to load them up. Really, it only works in Ace. But you could potentially use this and become a 7k leader. And then like Luffy, if you go to 0 super fast, you can load them up. So these are the keys. Absolutely crazy. Really, really hyped for these. Really excited to see what these end up doing in the meta. And then so we've got Sabo. These are the older brothers. So like these are the cards that you're going to be playing out with these. He's Dressrosa too, so he's going to work with Kyros when he comes out in the booster. And then also, of course, with like Corrida Coliseum. So really interesting to see what happens. But he's on play. You may trash the top or bottom card of your life. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Pretty simple. Big fan of this. Big fan of this. And then we've got Monkey D. Luffy. He also he's a 5/6, has counter, so it's really nice that these have counter and that they're not all just cards with no counter, since that does matter, and since like a lot of you're going to be stacking these in your life, potentially you want to be able to get cards with counter, not just be stuck with a bunch of no counter. So I really enjoy that they have counter, but then also activate main once per turn. This character gains plus 2,000 until the start of your next turn, so when he swings, he's going to be an 8, but on top of that, you can use it, and he's an 8 on the opponent's turn, so he can't get, like, jet pistoled. And then, if you have 1 life or more, draw 1 card and trash the top card of your life. So, perfect synergy for that Luffy leader, since if you have 1 life, you can use it to +1, and then you discard that, and then gain 2 life. So, you can see how they kind of, like, work with their respective leaders. And then, of course, we have our boy, Portgusty Ace. Super crazy card. Honestly, this card's, I hate to say it, but it's better in every other yellow deck. But on play, if you have 2 or less life, this card gains rush. So it's a 5/7 rush. Ace, again, just being 7k, and then also just having a rush card. We love to see that. But yeah, you could potentially, like, if you use the Ace to cheat this out, you can go Ace, play this, you're a 7k lead, swing 7, swing 7. Pretty solid. And then, of course, we have some support cards for the deck. We've got Curly Dadan. She's a blocker, a 5/4, but on play, you can play up to 1 of each of a 2-cost Sabo, Ace, or Luffy from your hand. So you could potentially play this, then play 6 Dawn worth of characters, and just have an 11 Dawn turn. So big potential. You probably don't want to do that, but being able to play this and then like potentially play out 2 while also gaining a blocker and potentially becoming up to a 9k lead depending on your life could be huge. So we'll see. Again, having that counter also very nice. And then of course more support. We have a Searcher. This is the heart and soul of the deck in my opinion, because this card is so versatile. I think it's going to be I think it goes further than just this deck. But you look at the top 5 cards of your deck on play, reveal up to 1 Sabo, Ace, or Monkey D. Luffy card with a cost of 5 or less, and then put it to your hand. Then place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Very solid card. And then, of course, we got a couple more. We got the 2Ks. You know, Makino is a big part of their life, so we've got Makino on play. You may add the top or bottom card of your life to your hand and then look at your life, then return them in any order. Again, like you can go Ace, add 1, play this on 3, and then essentially for free find out your whole life and rearrange it for those 2 Dawn that you use to stack that. And you get to add that card to your hand. So you played the card, it doesn't get wasted, it goes to your hand, and then you get this. Or like Luffy, I don't believe you can use this on Luffy because the way Luffy changed the rules, this is cost, so you wouldn't be able to activate this with like one of the face-up cards. So I think that's one thing to note, but overall, I think this is just busted for yellow in general. I don't know who decided to make this card, but it's absolutely crazy. And then the other 2K, Yamato, again getting some more rush. This one being a 2K, a 5-drop, 4,000 power. But on play, you look at all of your life cards, place one card on the top of your deck, then return your life in your desired order. So again, like minusing your life just a little bit to be able to manipulate your whole life. But like, you know, Katakuri was living with life manipulation, but now every yellow deck is going to be having life manipulation. Then we've got the blocker. We've got a Vonkov. And then on play, you may trash the top or bottom card of your life, reveal one cost 5 character from your hand, then place it face down on the top of your life. So again, like with Ace, if you have that face up, you trash it and you can replace it with a face down, just effectively using this to gain a life. Same with Luffy. You can trash it and then boom, you can gain a life that's face down. It is have to be one of those 5 cost characters, so those are going to matter, but it could be anyone. And so there is at least one 5 cost trigger, so it could be a great way to stack that and just get a body or something like that. And then, of course, you have a whole extra booster coming out with more support. So a lot to be possible there, but I think this card is going to be really great. Then let's talk some of the boss characters. So we've got like our 5 drops, but then we've got our real heavy hitters. And then, of course, we've got my goat, Shanks. And then this was one of the cards that I've been, if you don't follow me on X, formerly Twitter, already at Vampyr Gaming, this is one of the cards that I predicted would pretty much exist, is that on play, flip one of your face-up life cards face down, essentially like one of those cards that will manipulate cards being face-up. And then if your opponent has 7 or more cards in their hand, send one card from the top of their life to the trash. So you've got leaders like Newgate that might have more than 7 cards, anyone who's big handing. So this is, again, like you already have the law out there that you have to watch your hand size, but now yellow, you'll potentially have to watch your hand size too, because if not, you're just going to trash one life. And so it's almost like Trash Mom, but more situational. But you do get to play that one where you get to manipulate the cards, so I think this sees play. And then another one, again, you know, you've got Luffy looked up to Shanks. Ace's Pops was Newgate, so we've got a Newgate. It has counter. On play, add the top card of your life, or add the top card of your deck to the top of your life cards. Then look at all your life cards, place one of the cards on the top of your deck. Return your remaining life cards in your desired order. So you almost get like your own Heart of the Cards Destiny draw vibe, because you get to play it, you get to add one, and then you're going to take one away. And so this could be nice because I believe this will work around the Luffy. And then so like you can take that, you place one, and I believe it's face down. I'm assuming it's going to play it face down since it doesn't specify face up. So again, just like rotating out those face up cards with a face down card. I believe that's where this is going to come in. Then, of course, they have some events to support them. Typically, each character gets their own event. We've got the Sabo event, Flaming Dragon King. And then its counter, give it to one of your leaders or characters plus 4,000. So it's a 2/4 counter. And then you look at your life cards, all of your life cards, and return them in your desired order. So this one lets you essentially do that for free without having to pay those life costs or a high cost. So like early, if you're going first or if you're going second and you don't play anything on your 2 dawn turn and they swing and you use this, now you know your whole life. And then trigger, you may add the top or bottom card to your hand, place one card from your hand to the top of your life. Then we've got the Luffy one, Gum Gum Jet Spear. Note, it's a Punk Hazard card. However, it's counter. Give up to one of your leaders or characters plus 2,000 power for this battle. Then if your life is 0, draw 1 card. Again, kind of gearing towards Luffy, but letting you draw a card is pretty neat. And then trigger, you may add the top or bottom card of your life to your hand. Place 1 card from your hand to the top or bottom of your life. And then we didn't really get an Ace event. We got this. 3 brothers bond, but this is pretty good. Look at it's essentially Garp. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 cost 5 or less, Sabo or Ace or Luffy. Then put it in your hand, then place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order, and then trigger, you just activate this card. So this searching for those characters, I feel that this is going to be important just so you can get to those characters, so you can have the 5, you can have the 2, whatever you need. And now let's talk just a little bit about like the combos. So we've got Luffy. And so this Luffy, when you don X2, you may discard one card, and you can add, when you're at 0, you have to be at 0, but you can add 2 cards with a 5 cost from your hand or trash. So if you have any of the big ones and you have the little ones, you could potentially do a crazy play. Playing the Dodon is just slightly stronger because you get that blocker, so you have a blocker. But then you can play out potentially like 2 of the little ones. And then if both of your face-up life are these, assuming you haven't used it this turn, and you have those already there, you can play them out, and then you play them out, you'll be a 9k lead, and you could discard and play two more in your life, or stack up to 2, and then that's crazy. Or if you don't have those and you use it this turn, you'll be at 0, but you'll be a 9k lead, so you have that going for you with the blocker to Don. However, if you have 1, you could do it with just 1, go 7, and then stack 2 more, so you could be a 7k leader with 2 life. Lots of just different variations of this, but this could be potentially very powerful since you can stack both of the life fairly easy with Luffy to cheat these out, and you get those nice bodies too. Then, of course, you've got Ace, and here kind of just one of the things, and it can be any of the brothers here, but you attach the 2 Dawn, and then you add 1, you search for 1, you add it to the top of your life, then you play Thunderbolt, or you play Sabo, and it's pretty much free. Sabo, each one of these trashes a life, but the Sabo, of course, will let you keep the body, but Thunderbolt you could do early, so you both have pretty solid synergy. And then also, cards like the Shanks, you can use Ace, put the Sabo in your life, then you can play Shanks, put him face down, and then so at the end of your turn, you aren't going to trash one. So for a 9 Dawn turn, you can gain a life and get a 7k body. So I think that plays, it's decent. I think, it might have its place, but yeah, just being able to go up 1 life. And then just some of the synergies on the Sabo side. Of course, you have Satori. Satori, you can attach to Dawn. I believe that you're going to be able to add them to your life as long as you have, if you attach Dawn, you'll be able to add them to your life. And so a card like Satori, you can add in, and then once it triggers, you can play it once more and just kind of keep it safe once you swing, and then just add it back, going up a life, but then also once it's done, you're going to re-get that body. And then, of course, cards like Rushers, because you could play 3 and then go 2 on Zoro, go 7, 1 on Sabo, add him to your life, and just simply go up a life and then boost somebody else for a swing as well. Same concept with these other rushers. Of course, Monkey D. Luffy having even more, since you have those yellow searchers that will allow you to search the unblockable Luffy. And then, of course, you can, again, just kind of keep your unblockable Luffy safe by putting him back into your life. Since he doesn't have any, trash or anything, he just simply allows you to gain a life. And the same with this Sanji, has the counter, so once it's in your life, you have counter. And then you can, play this Dawn once, on your 8 Dawn turn, you could swing 7 with a Sanji, Sabo, and then again, just boosting another character. So a lot of possibilities there, I think. But I think the rushers are really going to get the most value. And of course, again, you do have that Rush Ace who's perfect at that 7k point. Now, on the Luffy side, we see Satori again. You want the 5s. 5s are going to become your life, and then they get bottom decked. So counter isn't as relevant, but we got cards like Satori, Gadatsu, just a 5, but an OP05 is a pretty solid yellow staple. You can KO a character up to their life card amount. So pretty solid on that side. And then, of course, Kozuku Momonosuke coming out in OP06, being a 5 cost. He's a 5/6 blocker, so those are always nice. And then he also can allow you to put cards into the life face up, so you can just stack some life with him. And then Garp, since you have that side with the black, and you can also rest Garp to discard for the pop, which can allow you to fuel in those 5 cost characters if needed. And then, of course, Thunderbolt. I have Thunderbolt here because Luffy has to be at 0 to use his effect. So if you have 1, you can go Thunderbolt and then discard. You pop something and then you discard a card and go back up the 2. And then Ace, you of course get these nice blue cards here. I've got him with Satori, of course, because you add a 5 character to your life. Obviously, the ideal ones are going to be the brothers. However, whatever works, right? And then we've got Hiyori, which is actually insanely strong. Because with Hiyori, you get to, it's on play, you may put the top or bottom card of your life pile into your hand. So you go to Dawn, and then you add it, and then you play Hiyori, and then Hiyori will add that card to your hand. So your 5 cost is going to get added to your hand, and you place 1 card from your hand on the top of your life. And so it should be face down. So then you gain a life, and you get one of those cards. And so really strong. And then also you have Zeph. So not only can you do that, but the following turn, you could play Zeph and then return that Hiyori back to your hand or even any of your searchers. So Zeph has potential to be very strong for recycling your own cards in Ace. We'll see how that plays in the long term. But yeah, big fan just in theory, just sitting here. And then, of course, Thunderbolt. Because, again, you just Dawn 2, play that card, boom, and you get it for free. So Thunderbolt's essentially a 4, 5 cost destruction. But yeah, that's essentially it. Honestly, in my opinion, I think Sabo is the strongest leader. It might be Luffy. People might find a way to abuse that 2 life and just go to distance. Because, yeah, being able to gain 2 life, so you could potentially end up being like a 9 life leader at the end of the day, which is just absolutely absurd. But it's completely possible. But, yeah, if I had to rank them, I would probably rank them Sabo number 1, Ace number 2, and then Luffy number 3. And it will really depend on like what else comes out. But with what's out currently, I think these are, I think they're all definitely playable. I think Sabo is going to be the strongest, but it really depends on what comes in Extra Booster too. But yeah, really excited to see these come out to Japan. Let me know in the comments below which leader you will be playing. And as always, if you found this content of value, over 80% of my viewers are not subscribed. If you could do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. It'd mean the world to me. And as always, thank you all so much for watching.